Hello.
Right, Joe, how's you?
Not too bad. She's Ben, you right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How's you?
Yeah, good. Just
Good, good.
sorry, I was having internet problems.
Yeah, I seen.
My
Yeah.
son just thought he'd just unplug the Wi-Fi that we just had installed to charge his iPad. So
Well, at least it's sorted now.
yeah.
Well, welcome along to Netflix, Joe. I'm sure you've been a busy man this pre-season. How's that been so far?
Yeah, we've had 3 weeks now, so it's been good. We had one preseason game called off, so we had a couple of
Hmm.
sort of internal games, using a couple of the younger lads in the
Yeah.
to make up an 11v11 and got some good games in.
Hmm.
And training's been good. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to impress the new manager, and there's a few fresh faces that have really made an impact so far. So
Hmm.
yeah, looking forward to a week on Thursday for the first game.
Yeah. I seen that you drew one each way Inverness as well. Was that good to just get out and really feel a game again?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so we played. It was two separate teams played. So
Yeah.
there was one team played the first half against Inverness, and the second team played the second half in Inverness. And after you played your 45 minutes against them, you then went over and played against our under 18s.
Okay.
So everyone got 90 minutes in the legs and
Yeah.
got used to a bit of a match situation. So it was good.
That's good. Yeah. So what I'm looking to do with this channel, Joe, is really get your advice to young people on how to make it to the games. That's been good.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Okay, let's get started in your career then. So, you started with a boyhood club Norwich. So, you started the youth team there. Was there any players in the youth team at the time?
Through so I was 10 years old, yeah, when I was at
Yeah.
Norwich first started and coming through, I would say, well, there is not one player at my age group that went on to play professional football.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I say professional football. I think they played a couple of games, or no one went on to have a career in football.
Right.
Um, there was a couple. There was no one in the year above.
Right.
There was a couple in the year below. Declan Rudd, also a goalkeeper who is at Preston.
Right.
Chris Martin, who was played for Scotland,
Mm.
um, and he's been at Derby, Bristol City at the moment. But there's been very few in that sort of 3 years that went on to have a career in the game,
Yeah.
which tells you, the stats of players that make it. And
Exactly.
I know Norfolk, yeah, that's probably a bit of an exception. Just probably fewer than even the stats would suggest. But a couple of years older, there was some decent players. And Robert Green had come through ahead of me. He was playing in the first team at the time.
Okay.
Jason Shackle, who was playing in centre back at Norwich at the time when I was coming through, he'd come through the youth system. So there was a few, and Norwich have been quite good at getting goalkeepers, especially coming through
Yeah.
the youth ranks. And they've had, I mean, just now there's myself, Declan Rudd, Jed Steer, Angus Gunn. So there's four goalkeepers within 5-6 years of each other, who all went through made it professional. So I think they use that as quite a obviously Archie Mayer left Aberdeen to go to Norwich a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and he showed me they use that as a sort of example of how they can promote goalkeepers. So,
Hmm.
but Norwich it was a great club to come through at. It was a good grounding for me, a very well run professional club.
Hmm.
But I never actually played a first team game. I was a professional there for 3 years, but never got a game in the first team.
Yeah. So as you said, you didn't get a game with them. You went on loan to a couple of teams, Stockport, County, and Morecambe before you signed permanently for Peterborough United, and you spent 3 seasons there. How did that really feel being established number one?
Yeah, it was good because, like I say, the loan spells were brilliant for me, and I went on loan to Stockport first. Played the last 4 or 5 games, I think, for the end of the season there, which was great. And then the following season, I played half a season at Morecambe, and I had a really good 6 months there.
Mm-hmm.
Played two really good games. Two of my best games were both against Peterborough.
Yeah.
So I went back in the January, and Peterborough put a bid in for me. And because I wasn't really playing at the time at Norwich, and Norwich were going for a bit of a spell where they needed to sell the players. I ended up signing for Peterborough. I was there 4.5 years. It was great. It was great to go there and be an established number one. I think sometimes you need, not always, but sometimes you need to get away from your parent club where you came through to be thought of as a first team regular. I think sometimes football clubs are guilty of not treating or rewarding their own young players as much as they would do a signing that they've brought in. And they always sort of treated like young boys, even when they get to 22, 23, 24, they always are treated like young boys. So it was good to get away and be treated like a first team player, even at the age of 20, and to be playing regularly. And I ended up playing close to 200 games in the 4.5 years I was there.
Yeah. Well, when throughout your career, you get selected several times for the under-21s, your main honour being the runner-up in the under-21s European Championships. And you played against talent such as Ozil and Hummels. But one of the appearances you made up front against Azerbaijan. So how did that come about?
Well, Stuart Pearce was actually the manager, and he's got a track record of doing it. So, but we had it was like a pre-championship qualifier. A pre-championship warm-up game.
Yeah.
Against Azerbaijan at Milton Keynes, and there was one or two. It was like a training camp we'd been away on, and there was one or two injuries.
Okay.
And on the bench was myself and Scott Loach. Joe Hart was playing, myself and Scott Loach, and Stuart just turned around to me and just said, like, "Do you want to go up front?" I said, "If you want me to, yeah." So I went through and went back to the changing rooms, got the white kit on, changed out my gold kit, got a white kit on, because there'd been a few injuries and he didn't want to risk. I don't think. Well, there was no one really fully fit sat on the bench who had niggles, so he didn't want to risk anyone who had niggles. So I played the last, I think, 15, 20 minutes up front for the 21s, and the photos have resurfaced recently. I forgot about them, but they've been doing the rounds recently. I've been sent it a few times.
Yeah, I've seen them on Twitter, a couple of them. Yeah, it looked a bit weird.
Yeah, it does look weird, doesn't it? It just doesn't look right. But yeah.
So whilst we're talking about your international career, you get selected in 2008 for the senior squad, the England senior squad. How is it being involved with such guys like Beckham, Lampard, Gerrard, Rooney? How was it like?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I think it wasn't not to do myself an injustice, but it wasn't. I think fully merited on performances. You know, I wasn't looked at as the third best keeper in the country at the time.
Yeah.
But I had been away with the 21s a couple of weeks earlier, middle of closed season, and I think the goalkeepers were Joe Hart, David James, and Chris Kirkland.
Right.
And Chris Kirkland's back had seized up, and he had to pull out the squad. And I think that Stuart Pearce was involved with the first team as well as the 21s at the time.
Yeah.
And I think they just thought, well, Joe's been with the 21s. He's young. They were trying to bring through and encourage sort of get a pathway for the 21s to the senior team. And Joe's been away with us. He's been training. He's fit. He's ready. He can come at a moment's notice. So it just fit really well, and that experience was unbelievable. It was such like a I've just been playing in League Two for Peterborough. We just got promoted from League Two. Yeah, and then to go in and be training and playing with like household names, and just some of the world's best players was pretty daunting. But I really enjoyed it. It was hard work. Yeah, but it was very good. Yeah.
Back to your club career now, and from Peterborough you signed for Cardiff, where you made one appearance in the Premier League. How was that?
Yeah, I'd say it's actually one of the highlights of my career is my Premier League debut, because I signed for the club, signed for Cardiff on a free transfer from Peterborough.
Yeah,
and I just didn't get and David Marshall was on fire at the time. He's playing so well that I had no reason to knock on the manager's door and say I should be playing. Marshall didn't get injured. So really, it's 2 years. I was just playing cup games. And at the time, I don't think Malky Mackay was that bothered about the cups. He just wanted he would just play sort of fringe players or players that weren't getting a game. So, so I only got, I think I played 5 cup games probably in the 2 years, and then 1 Premier League game.
Yeah.
So, but that was great. I mean, it was Hull, so I think it would have been great if it had been against Man United or Liverpool.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Hull, but it was good. It was really good. I played well. I enjoyed it. We drew 1-1 and made a couple of good saves. Distribution was good. Yeah, I was really pleased with it, and I actually put on Match of the Day that night to watch it.
Yeah.
And they showed about 5 seconds of the game. I didn't even get a look in. But no, it was great. It was great. It was a good experience. Marshall was back fit straight away after that. Unfortunately for me, he came back straight back in the team and did well again. And that was my one and only league appearance for Cardiff.
Yeah. Your time at Cardiff finished with a few loan spells at Blackpool and Fulham as well. How was that at the time?
So the first one was at Blackpool, and I mean, I'm so glad for Blackpool. Blackpool is a great club. It is a great club, and it's the supporters are fanatics, and they make loads of noise. It's a really good stadium.
Yeah.
But at the time, the owner wasn't doing a great job for the club at all. He seemed to be not putting money back into the club, not investing in the club. The training facilities were absolutely terrible, the worst. As bad as you can imagine. It was just a couple of porta cabins that had been there, must have been there 20 years themselves. The training pitch was really average. The match day pitch was just a sand pit. It was like playing on the beach. The stadium was lovely, new stadium. And that was great. But it was. I felt sorry for the fans. We got relegated from the Championship that year, and I felt actually really sorry for the fans because they were just disillusioned with the club. And they've got new owners now, which is great in it, and they're on the up now. It's a really good club now. And then one of my better games in that season was against Fulham at Craven Cottage, and they had a couple of injuries to their senior keepers. So I went on loan, ended up going on loan for the season there. I played about 30 odd games for Blackpool in the season before. I only played about 9 or 10, I think, for Fulham that following season. So Fulham's a fantastic club. What a place to play football. It's a great part of the world. Good, nice stadium, great training facilities, really well professional. Financially they're very well off as well. So they were able to really look after players in terms of facilities and just get really looked after. So it was great. But obviously it was just a loan. It was only ever going to be a loan. I didn't feel like it was ever going to be anything permanent.
Yeah.
So it was a shame to leave there because I did really enjoy my time there, even though it was only a year. But obviously then I moved on to Aberdeen.
Yeah, as you said, you moved on to Aberdeen. And what was the attraction really coming down to Scotland from? So
well, I was out of contract, and I think when you come out of contract, I did all right at Fulham, and I did very well at Blackpool, but I hadn't played that regularly, and hadn't been really in the shop window a lot. So I was just sort of looking at what my options were. I needed to get back playing again because I need to establish myself as a number one at a club, as a permanent player. Because I think when you're a loan player, sometimes you're looked at as just a stopgap. And if any of their permanent players are available, or if it's a toss-up between the two of you, they're always going to take their permanent player rather than, or choose their permanent player rather than a loan player. So I wanted to be established somewhere. So I signed a 2-year contract at Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I mean, Aberdeen was one of the first clubs that came in, and because we had the Europa League qualifiers, which start really early, Aberdeen were doing their business as early as they could before everyone else. So that was really it was an opportunity to play first team football, and play Europa League football, compete at the top end of the league, compete for trophies. So all of them combined. I mean, I didn't realise how far North Aberdeen was, but at that time it wasn't about location. It was more of a career move to get myself playing again. And I ended up, I've signed two new contracts since then. I've really enjoyed my time.
Yeah, so from your first season at Aberdeen, it was a successful one for the club, coming second and getting out to 2 cup finals, both v Celtic. One was 3-0 and one was a definite sole one, 2-1 in the last minute. How was the feeling in the dressing room, especially after the 2-1 one? Because Celtic weren't beaten at the time, it must have felt that you couldn't beat them.
Yeah, it was gutting. It was absolutely gutting because although during looking back at the game and probably a bit during the game towards the end, especially, we were tired. We'd been holding on for a little while. We had the opportunity, the one that will haunt me for the rest of my life, the one with Kenny and
Johnny.
Johnny crossing it to Kenny. But in general, we had our backs against the wall and we were holding on. I think had we had got to the end of the game and had the break, a chance to regroup, a chance to get a breather, then we might have been able to hold on and get to penalties. And then it's a potential. Well, it's a toss of a coin sometimes. It's anyone's game then. So that was pretty hard to take, especially after we'd lost pretty convincingly to Celtic earlier that season at the same place. So it was a performance we were proud of in terms of the way we played, but ultimately cup final was about winning, and we weren't able to do it.
Well, from the first few seasons, as I said, signed a few deals, but the main deal you signed was a 5-year contract till 2024. Did you think Aberdeen was a club for you when you signed that contract?
Yeah, I did. I've my kids and my eldest kid is in school here. My youngest kid, was 1 last week, he was born here. So yeah, it has become definitely that in it. And when I first signed, in my head, honestly, I thought to myself, I'll sign for the club. I'll play some games. I'll hopefully do well, and I'll have the opportunity to go back down to England, closer to home. But I loved every minute of it. The supporters took to me early. I think it was only my 4th or 5th game potentially, or even less than that, when we played Maribor away and the ball bobbled over a foot. But even that, it was even with that, the supporters still stuck by me, and I felt a lot of support from them, and I was really enjoying my start to the club. And yeah, it's just happened. It's just been really good ever since then. Really, it's been I've enjoyed it on and off the pitch.
So being at the club for a number of seasons now, what has been your favourite game and what's been your favourite save for Aberdeen?
My favourite game, on a personal note, the game at Murrayfield against Hearts, 0-0. Made quite a few saves in that game, and obviously it's great when you really feel like you've earned, you directly earned points in a game, which doesn't always happen. Very rarely happens as a goalkeeper. You feel like you contribute, but that game I felt like I really dug deep and earned the club and the team a point, and really contributed in that game. So that's been my favourite game. and also we had I think we had 7 or 8 thousand away fans at that game,
Yeah.
making a hell of a noise behind the goal there, even though there was quite a big distance between the goal and the stand.
Yeah.
You could really hear them. It was great atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite save, I would say between both from Scott Sinclair actually.
Yeah.
There was the penalty save in the cup final, and there was one at Pittodrie that was live on Sky, so they had every
Yeah, he
different
tipped
angle of
over,
it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I used the top hand and tipped it over. So between them two, I would say my favourite saves. Although ultimately, I don't think actually that we actually didn't win any of them games I've just mentioned. So, but
Yeah.
sort of being selfish for a minute and talking on a personal level,
Yeah.
then yeah.
So also at the end of the 1920 season, Graham Shinney departed for Derby County, and you were selected as the captain. How did that feel?
Yeah, I was really proud to be selected as captain. It was something I was really happy to do when Derek had asked me. So yeah, it was definitely something that obviously I think everyone would have loved Graham Shinney to stay, none
Yeah.
more so than me. But as has happened at Aberdeen quite often, players move on, and people have to come in and fill their boots, and part of that was the captaincy that was left by him, and I was delighted to be asked to do that.
Yeah. So last season, a difficult spell for the club, especially with Derek McInnes leaving. How was the feel at the club at the time?
So it was, it was a really difficult period for the team in terms of results, and it's very rare at any football club you have a manager at the club for that length of time. A lot of the young boys. Oh, that's my watch talking to me. Sorry. It's very rare that you get that manager there for that length of time. So for me, I had experienced managers leaving clubs before.
Yeah.
It's never a good feeling. It's never a nice feeling. It's always a bit of a strange atmosphere around the club. For a lot of the boys, they'd never experienced that. A lot of the boys that had come through, the younger lads, they hadn't experienced that at all. So yeah, it was difficult for them, definitely, and it was a lot of upheaval. It felt like, but it's it's part and parcel of football, and it happens regularly at most football clubs. It happens very regularly. We're lucky that Aberdeen it hasn't happened that often, but yeah, that's part and part of football, and it's something you have to get on with.
Yeah. So as well with Derek leaving, the club appointed Stephen Glass as a new manager. How's that been since he came in?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really good. He's brought some real fresh ideas. Obviously, it was a really difficult time for him to come in at the end of last season and for the last few games. Obviously, there was a bit to play for still, but he needed to find his feet really, and to have a good look at what he needs. And I think he must have known he had a big job on his hands with players leaving, a lot of players out of contract, and he needed to get a lot of players in. So so far, he's done a fantastic job with his recruitment, in my opinion. A couple of all the lads that have come in are real characters, the big characters, which is exactly what we needed, in my opinion. And they seem to be excellent players from what I've seen so far. So it's going to be hopefully a really exciting season ahead.
Yeah. So you're talking about the new arrivals there. Who's impressed you most by them?
I would probably say it's difficult. I would probably say Big Jet. He's a lot more talented and technically gifted than I had given him credit for, or than I thought he was. His touch is brilliant. His finishing is very, very good. And I mean, as you can all see from when we played against him, he's unbelievably strong. And if the ball comes into him, it sticks. And he's always looking to try and role defender or bring other players in.
Yeah.
So if we can get the ball into him with quality and get runners off him and get support up and around him, then he will be a real handful for anyone he plays against, as he was against us last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one of the games being in the cup, and he won a few penalties, scored a goal. He looked really good, so no wonder that he was. Yeah, no wonder he sent these. So with Aberdeen finishing fourth last season, he's got the UEFA Conference League, and he's got drawn against BK Häcken. How is the feel that game in a couple of weeks' time as well?
I think everyone's looking forward to it. It's always the first game is very always one you really are up for, and for me, I'm really hoping we can get some supporters in. The Thursday nights just have a different feel to them than any other game you play throughout the season. Thursday night European games always have a brilliant feel to them. I really enjoy playing in them. It's a tough draw. I know at the time that we'd been drawn against them, I think they were bottom of the league and struggling.
Yeah.
But of the teams you can be drawn against,
they're probably
one of the strongest leagues. They're probably one of the strongest teams. So we know we'll be in for a game. We know we need to be ready, and there's not going to be any time for rustiness or feeling our way into the season. We're straight into a competitive game, which is going to be a challenge for us. But we feel we'll be up for it. We feel like we'll get through the tie hopefully, and get some good performances, and obviously hopefully some of the new lads get a feel for what Pittodrie is going to be like.
Exactly. So we're talking about a new season. What are your personal goals for the season ahead?
Personal goal to play consistently at a good level. I certainly felt last season was my most inconsistent season so far at the club. So I want to get back to consistently making positive decisions, helping the team, and obviously our team goals has got to be silverware. They've got to be and to get into the group stages of the Europa Conference. Has got to be an aim of it as well. And if we could get that European football running further into the season and get some group stage football, that would be fantastic if that can coincide with getting a full stadium as well. If that's going to be allowed, which hopefully is going to be allowed in the not too near distant future. Get the place, get Pittodrie bouncing, get the red shed going as it was planned for. Because even the cup games that it was, the couple of trial ones they had, they weren't the best of games in terms of entertainment for the supporters, but the noise was brilliant, and it was it was something I was really looking forward to.
I'm from Dumbarton, so I remember the one being Dumbarton myself. So it wasn't a great game, but so right, Joe, I'm going to put you on a spot here. Out of all the Aberdeen players you played with, what would be your five-a-side team?
What would be
What would be a five-a-side team?
A five-a-side team. Okay, I'll have to go in goal. I would have Andy at the back.
Okay.
I would have, without a shadow of doubt, James Maddison's got to be in there.
Yes.
Especially in five-a-side, but if it was on the side, it'd be one of the first ones in there. Kenny McLean.
Okay. Yeah.
And
striker's a tough one.
Striker is a tough one. It would probably have to be Adam Rooney. Because in a five-a-side pitch, you don't have to be too far away from the goal. He could just hang around the goal and just get his tap-ins like he normally does. So like he always did. I think that would be. I can't think of any standout that you would put in there. Andy's got to be in there, and he's got to be in any other team you pick. Yeah, Rooney. Yeah, I'll stick with that, I think.
Yeah. I think we've done a few games.
Yeah.
So Joe, you've played for many teams down in England, and obviously with Aberdeen, So being a goalkeeper like myself, what advice would you give for a young person like me?
The easy thing to say, I think, for any goalkeeper giving advice is don't worry about your mistakes. That's one thing that's so easy to say, but so hard to do. I would say a couple of bits of advice. I would say that if you are struggling with confidence, which I think so many goalkeepers have done, I was always told, and it's quite hard to. It was only when I got older that I realised what the guy meant. He used to say, "Act as if you're confident." So, what do you do when you're playing well? What mannerisms do you have? How do you move around the pitch? How do you stand? How do you walk around the goal with your chest out on your toes? How do you behave when you're confident? If you can start to behave like, and even if it's fake and you're forcing it to start off with, that will then sort of breed hopefully the real confidence that comes after that. And another bit of advice I would give to any goalkeeper, especially, is try and have a look at a goalkeeper that you feel like you're like, physically. For me, I always used to love watching Van der Sar. He's my height-ish, my build. And I used to watch him. It would have been pointless me looking at, I'm showing my age here now, but Fabian Barthez or who else was there? Pepe Reina, or short, powerful goalkeepers, shorter, powerful goalkeepers. It would no real use in me modelling myself on them, because I'm never going to be them. I'm never going to be able to do what they do, because my body type and the way I am was completely different to them. So whatever shape, size you are, whatever your strengths are, find a goalkeeper that you feel is similar to that. And see what they do and see how they play. Watch them and try and imitate them to a degree. And another thing I would say, if you're big, you can do it. Come for crosses. Do that. If you're a good kicker of the ball, show that you play to your strengths. Other stuff will come with that, and if you play to your strengths and you play confidently and do well, the other stuff will come with it. But there's no specific magic piece of advice, but they're the couple that I would give to any goalkeeper at all, but any young goalkeeper especially.
Is there any training that I should be doing to maybe improve my overall game?
I would say it's quite training's quite difficult in terms.
I don't know what you mean by. I would say.
I don't know why I'm watching talking to me. Sorry. I'll take it off. Try and get yourself into match situations. It's sometimes difficult to replicate a match situation in training. You can do all the stuff, tick all the boxes, do crossing, do your kicking, different types of shots and stuff like that, and you need to do that, and that is, that's necessary. But I think putting yourself in matches, I've seen terrible trainers who are really good match goalkeepers. Likewise, I've seen great trainers who can't do it when they cross the right line. So putting yourself in difficult situations, putting yourself in testing yourselves in matches, but get the practice and training, and start to put them things into matches and get yourself into match situations as much as you can. That's the best bit of advice I could give.
Okay, thank you. Well, to finish off the interview, we're going to do a quiz. Our top goal scorer is Lon Shanklin with 9 out of 10. So you ready?
I'm not very good at football quizzes, but yeah.
It is about your past teams really as well, and current team obviously. So number 1, what is the name of Blackpool Stadium?
Bloomfield Road.
Correct. That's one. How many points did Aberdeen finish on last season?
Oh no. Oh dear.
This is a tough one.
I'm gonna say I could be miles off. 54.
I'll give you it's 56. I'll give you it.
Okay, good.
That's two away. I'll give you
Yeah.
that. What is the Norwich City mascot called?
Norwich City mascot.
Could be supported as well. So
I was a season ticket holder there for
yeah.
Norwich City mascot. I don't know.
Captain Canary.
Captain Canary. It's a rubbish one as well, actually. But
Where did Cardiff finish last season?
oof. Where did Cardiff finished last season? Cardiff finished. I don't know. 9th.
You want? I'll give you it's eighth. It's eighth.
Oh.
I'll give you that as well. Yeah. How many appearances did you make for the under 21s? Including your appearance at striker as well.
7.
7, is that what you said?
Yeah.
5.
5. I should know that, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
There's no excuses there.
I'll not give you out one. I've been generous to you. I'll not give you out one. Number 6. How many appearances have you made for Aberdeen?
Oh God. 207.
I can't give you that. That's 225.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Didn't know that many.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Yeah.
Maybe I've looked at league games or I don't know. Oh, that's more than I thought.
Yeah. What number did Johnny Hayes wear last season? Maybe not this season.
Terrible. Last season. Don't know what he's wearing this season. Johnny Hayes. I was going to pick my phone up there. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with.
Give him a wee text.
16.
I'll give you 17. 17.
17.
Yeah.
17. All right, yeah. I knew it was something like that.
Who are Norwich set to play in their first game this season?
Liverpool?
Correct, yeah. That's correct. Number 9. What is the Aberdeen mascot called?
Angus the Bull.
Correct. Right, number 10. What is Aberdeen goalkeeper kit? Away kit, sorry, for this season. This is kind of 50-50 to be fair. So.
Yeah, so I know all the kits. I don't know which one. So I'm pretty sure the home one's green. And I think the away one's blue.
Correct. There you go.
Yeah. And there's actually going to be a black one that's coming out as well, which is really nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you get 7 out of 10.
Oh, I'll take that. Yeah. You were generous with a couple as well, but
yeah.
I'll take 7.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on. Hope to catch up with you in the future.
Nice one. Cheers, Ben. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, see you later.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.